All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back for another day of the Virtual Trading Summit 2. This is Tracy Walker, and we're going to jump right into it on this evening, guys. We have two of the educators and traders that are really responsible for a lot of almost everything I know, the little bit I know about trading, right? And you don't have to know a lot. You need to know enough to do the same thing over and over and over, all right? But at the very onset, Curtis Cobain Branch befriended us, and we were able to build a really good relationship. And then down the road, met up with Mr. Oren Wright, and he helped to just take things to a whole nother level as well. So I hope you guys are ready tonight. Please make sure you have your pens, your paper, all that ready. I'm going to ask that you also write down your questions such that the gentlemen can actually get through the information they're going to share with us on tonight. And then when they're ready to open it up for Q&A, you've got your stuff ready, okay? I don't want us stopping in between, ask every little question. Let's make sure we let them get through the material. We get it, and then we can ask questions. So you guys ready? If you're ready, give me a big thumbs up. Big thumbs up. All right, and we're going to turn it over to you, Curt. What's up, bro? Thank you so much.
Okay, hold on. Let me get myself together. Look, it has been far too long, Dream Team family. I miss every last one of these pictures I see. I'm like, oh my God. It's like family reunion time all over. I'm ready to get some hot dogs and some ribs, beef ribs, of course. So I'm definitely excited to work with you guys today. It's been a minute, man. I've seen some of you guys in spurts here and there on my crypto session, but I am like looking so forward right now to working with you guys and showing you a few things that I've been mastering in my spare time and in my in-between time. My strategies that I've shown you guys have evolved so much. And I'm even excited to be on here with Oren. A lot of times when I'm educating, Oren's educating. So I miss a lot of his live sessions. So to be actually in a session with Oren is like, bruh. So I'm really excited today to get going with you guys. So I'm going to go ahead and enlarge for a second, screen share, and we're going to get right into it. All right, cool. I'm going to move this over to my other monitor for a second, make sure I can see everything I need to see. All right. So for some of you guys that haven't seen me in a while, I haven't been able to kind of communicate with you guys and break down what I've been doing. Essentially, what's happened is I've taken my strategy and I found out what the main issue I was having as a trader, where I would have consistency. And even like all of us, we have those days, those weeks where it's like, oh, what is it? And I realized it's not, bear with me when I say this, everybody's like, what do you mean? I realized that we're the problem. We're the problem. Our human nature is the problem, right? We have nights we're on, we're killing it, we're on point, nonstop, trades looking good, analysis is on point. And then there's days where the kids make you mad, the spouse makes you mad, the boyfriend, the girlfriend makes you mad, job, coworkers, certain things just come out of left field. And it's difficult for us to be our very best at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, right? So what I realized was I needed to figure out exactly what I was doing when I was on, and I needed to make sure I documented that and figure out what the best version of me does as a trader. And this is where our rules come into play. When we start having our actual trading plan, our strategy. But I made sure that inside of my rules and my trading plan, that even if there's a moment of greed that can possibly creep in, my rules dictate what I should do at those moments. All right. So now everything I'm going to share with you guys is how I've broken down how I use my analysis and how I use my indicators and how I'm using everything the market shows me as a whole. So I can basically put together my entire days, weeks, month worth of trading. And it's really not hinging on my emotions and how I feel based on what the market is doing. Every time the market moves, when it gets to a certain point, I take my majority of my trade off the table. I let the rest go, move my stop loss and profit. Boom, bang, pow, done. And right now I'm only using 3 indicators. And I really use them just to make sure that the market structure that I'm seeing is all making sense. So a lot of my strategy is really based upon if you already understand market structure. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just slide us right off of Bitcoin, because I ain't about to do y'all like that on the first day. I know some of y'all are like, I know he better not start off on Bitcoin. Like, that's just the easiest thing in the world to trade. So I'm going to go ahead to like GBP CAD, right? This is one of my pairs I trade. I only trade like 3 pairs right now. This is one of the main ones I've been, just consistently profiting off of right now. And I made about 700 today on this trade alone, just because I knew the market gapped earlier this week and we all were waiting for GBP to fill that gap that it dropped on a lot of those other pairs. So when it came back up, I ate like beans and gravy on this one right here. So what I want to do is break down exactly how I use all my indicators because I know we got a little bit of time. Y'all know me. If y'all let me talk, we'll be in here. Ramoni already like, I already know how you go. So what exactly I'm looking for is I need to have my RSI in a certain position. I need to have my ADX in a certain position, and my 8 moving average dictates when I enter. Okay. Now, if you don't know what the RSI is, it's just a relative strength index. I use my settings on 5, mainly because most of my analysis takes place on the 4-hour time frame. The 4-hour time frame for me is that sweet spot between the daily and the hourly where I get a lot of the cleanness that the daily chart offers, and I erase a lot of the noise that the hour chart brings us. I mean, mind you, in the 4-hour, we only get 6 candles out of the day. So that's really easy for me to monitor considering I'm trying to build a business. I got other things going on. I'm building curriculums. So the 4-hour is perfect for me and my lifestyle. Now, the RSI settings are on 5 because on that 4-hour, I'm getting the majority of the previous day's movement calculated right in front of me with the RSI because it's calculating those 5 periods back, giving me a lot faster indicators rather than having the default on 14, calculating 14 candles. So 5 works great for me on the 4-hour. I can sometimes bump up to the hourly and still get a lot of good movement. Now, don't get me wrong, for a lot of people, that 5 RSI is fast, but for me, it's just on point for what I needed to do, and I'm going to break it down for you guys. Now, the ADX tool is a little different, and a lot of people get confused when they see it. Like, looks like a bunch of squiggly lines moving around. How am I supposed to make sense out of this? I'm going to go through it really fast, and then if you guys have questions, I'll break it down even further. The ADX tool is extremely powerful. I'm just going to go ahead and just enlarge this and show you what I mean. This blue line here is the ADX line, okay? Now, essentially, all I want the ADX line to do is show me volatility in the market. This is going to give me a nice heads up when the market starts to show a lot of momentum, a lot of buying and selling momentum coming into the market. Now, these 2 purple lines up here, this 45 and 55, or 45, yeah, 55 and 45. This is going to show me where when price gets up into this area, the volatility meter, this ADX line gets up here. I'm excited. I know we got some big moves ahead of us. I'm geeked up. These 2 purple lines are only for the blue ADX line, okay? That is all. Now, this red line and this green line, very powerful because this shows us when the sellers are dominant, and then this shows us when the buyers are dominant, okay? Now, the most important line out of everything on this ADX are these 2 white lines right here, this 26 and 19. This is like a power gauge, okay? Whenever you see crossovers taking place between the buyers and the sellers, let me know, okay, sellers are getting stronger, buyers are getting weaker. This would have let me know, okay, ahead of time, we're going to see some nice downtrending movement happen right now because it's happening above my power gauge. I got some volatility moving with me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and just drop a nice little line here so you can see what I mean when we go back to the chart. And then right here, we started seeing the sellers start to come back down. Buyers gained a little momentum. All of a sudden, crossover inside the power gauge, boom, buyers show some momentum. So now that shows me that this downtrend is over. Buyers have came into the market. So what I'm going to do is going to put this here. And when we go back to the chart, we should see exactly what we're looking for. Seeing from this point, everything inside of these 2 yellow lines should be a very strong downtrend. All right, now let's just go back. And from here, obviously, all the way down to here showed our downtrend. The moment we had a crossover here, boom, we got some buying momentum coming into the market. ADX removes the bias when you're having that on the fence moment, like, I don't know what it's going to do. Is it going to go up? Is it going to go down? I'm a little nervous here. I'm kind of confused. This allows you to have a much more confident standpoint in the market when you see the ADX making these crossovers above or below our power gauge here, right? And now when we see this blue line, the ADX line moving up, it allows us to say, okay, we got some volatility movement. And when we start seeing it die down, as you can see, market starts to go sideways. We're running out of volatility. And then we get a nice bit of buyer momentum coming in. Now we got some momentum coming up as well with the volatility meter, the ADX line rising higher. We can see a potential push even higher from the buyers because right now the sellers are weak, buyers are strong. We can see some more growth from that standpoint. All right. So the RSI, I know a lot of people say, oh, it's overbought, it's oversold. That's what we use it for. I use the RSI as more of a trigger tool, right? Because we all know in the market, RSI can run as far as it wants to run. It's not a, end all be all indicator. It just dictates momentum. So I'm going to go ahead and put a line here and I'm going to make sure it's on 80. We're We have our area marked up, and you can see what I mean and how I'm looking for these zones. Okay, so whenever I get triggered, right, like up here we got triggered on the 80, I'm looking at it saying, okay, I'm in a move for a potential sale here. I would like to see that the sellers start to become dominant. But the first thing I'm looking for is, as you notice, this green line here, my 8 exponential moving average, as it starts to travel, and you see the trend is just respecting the 8, respecting the 8, respecting, all of a sudden, boom, we got a big engulfing candle. What I'm looking for is to be triggered. And I teach my kids this all the time. The moment I'm triggered on the RSI, we say squirrel, look left, like the cartoon with the up, the dog and all like this stuff. As soon as we see an RSI get overbought or oversold, we're overbought. Squirrel, look left, see what we got, mark up our zone. Another thing the RSI is really good for new people is that if you're having issues marking up zones, like understanding where the levels are that you should be marking up, use the RSI to help you out with that, right? If you get triggered, right, for overbought zone, find out, okay, this is an area where price starts to kind of top out and then we drop off. Back here, we bottomed out, and what happened? We got bottomed out on the RSI as well. We'll use that zone to our benefit in the future, knowing that, okay, now from this point, we'll wait to see if something breaks above or below where we've been oversold or overbought in the past, right? So the RSI will give you a little bit of a heads up on how to kind of find those zones if you're new, and then it'll give you something to kind of grow from once you start gaining your momentum in the market as a trader. So I get triggered, look left, squirrel. I see we got areas here where we've already been bouncing off this area here at the top. Makes sense. So now I know this is a really strong area. Price likes to reverse. I want to see 2 candles stay below my 8 exponential moving average. So that's what I'm looking for. And then I'm gonna give you the whole play-by-play, right? Step 1, RSI triggers me. Step 2, I'm looking down here on the ADX. I want to see what we got, if we're getting anything crossing here. And then step 3, I want to see if I can get 2 candles below. Once I have 2 candles below and I get a crossover on the ADX, I'm all good for my trade to enter for a sale. My stop loss goes on the opposite side of this zone. So at the very height of this. And the thing is, I want to make sure you guys understand why I'm using this way with my stop loss. I want the market to tell me where my stop loss should be. Now, the market structure will allow me to stay on the right side of this trade, because if I get stopped out and it makes a higher high, okay, boom, we're still in the move for buys, right? I was wrong. I jumped the gun. I'll take that loss, and now I'll look to re-enter for a potential buy because we're making higher highs and higher lows at this point, right? So now I want to make sure no matter what's happening, the market's going to keep me on the right side of it. Now I enter this trade for the sale. My stop loss goes above here. Regardless of what my stop loss is, my risk management does not change. Now, this is where you have to kind of balance out what works for you. And you tell yourself, my risk management is only when I risk $30 per trade, only when I risk $40 per trade. You start to say, okay, well, if my stop loss is 40 pips, I can only put my lot size at $1, because if I go back negative 40 pips, boom, that's my $40 gone. Now, if your stop loss is 80 pips, you got to cut that lot size in half, and you're only working with 50 cents per pip now. And this is why I say the market will tell you what your stop loss needs to be, what your lot size needs to be. So that way, moving forward, you remove the greed and you get the benefit of taking these trades, but you make sure that no matter what's happening in the market, you're working with market structure, you're using your trading plan, you remove all the uncertainty and doubt of just kind of, oh my God, I got this big lot size, my stop loss is really close, I sure hope it moves in my favor. We get rid of all of that and we allow the market to tell us what to do. Now, once I'm in this trade, we're moving down to the downside. I've already got a cross on my ADX. It's looking great. The moment I hit my oversold area here, right, I'm looking down here to see if I have any areas of structure. So I know this is an area of structure that price could potentially bounce from. What I do is, and this is where I said my trading rules, I actually remove the majority of my trade off the table, right? So I'll take a large amount. If I enter for a standard, I'll take about $8 of that off the table. So that partial $8 gone, I got $2 still in the market. I'll move my stop loss into profit. So now no matter what's happening from here, if it comes back up and stops me out and breaks my 8 moving average, I'm fine with that. And I'll potentially look for a buy opportunity after that because I've been triggered, and I'll wait to see what happens with my ADX and if I get 2 candles above again. So now no matter what's going on in the market, I'm putting myself in a position to consistently profit over and over and over again just by taking what the market gives. Now, we already understand that this area is an area of structure. We broke through here. That $2 trade that I left in is consistently moving in profit. Stop loss is continually moving with it, making sure no matter what happens, I'm guaranteed some profit. As it drops, it keeps going lower. Now I get to a point here where I'm seeing the ADX start to show me, okay, sellers are still strong, buyers are absolutely weak below my power gauge where I want them. All of a sudden, sellers are dropping down into the power gauge, and now buyers are coming up. I can absolutely close this trade now because I have a crossover showing that buyers are now dominant. There's no need for me to stay in this trade any longer. That is it. I am out. It's done. And now I'm looking for potential buy opportunities, which is what I did earlier today when I took the buy to the upside and made a real nice 70 pips. So I just wanted to kind of break that down really fast for that. Now, with the ADX, I noticed it's something new that I haven't really gone into in detail in the past with you guys, but I use it for crypto as well as Forex. And I teach this on my sessions as well. And I really feel like the ADX is one of those tools where if you're new, it really helps you to remove that bias that a lot of traders have when they're new. They start off with that, oh, I took the sale. It's gotta be a sale. Not the sale I know and love. Like every trade you take instantly just turns into Jesus. Like your trade can never be wrong because you love it and you found it and it's yours. And we got to get out of that bias of looking at every single trade as a winner. Like I love when I lose because I know it's something I didn't see and I can improve upon that. Right? It's like anything else. Like when you go to the gym and you get that soreness, you look forward to that because you know, okay, I'm working. This is working. It's starting to pay off now. Same thing in trading. Those losses, I look forward to them because I'm like, ooh, I'm about to be a beast because that ain't happening again. I'm about to dodge that right hook next time. And you get more and more comfortable understanding that this is just a progress game where no matter what happens inside of this market, it's to benefit you. The market is never wrong. We just get into the wrong kind of argument, right? What they say, if you ask Google the right question, you would never have problems. And it's one of those situations where in the market, ask yourself the right questions. What did I not see? What did I miss? What was I not paying attention to? What did I have in my rules that didn't set me up to see that? Right. And I want to make sure you guys really understand how powerful having trading rules are because you won't be at your best every single night when you trade, every single morning when you trade. All right, when I watch Oren Wright and I see him doing his thing and he's breaking down the charts, drawing out the head and shoulders, cutting the head off, lining it all up. And I'm looking at him like he's been doing this for a long time. This is like muscle memory. This is like breathing for him. This ain't nothing. Right. And then I met a couple other guys out there. I met another guy named Cash, and we were out there at the event in Florida. And I just want you guys to know, like, when you're seeing us do these different sessions and you see us trade and we're giving this information, it's not so much that we're giving information out because, you know, we're excited about teaching. That's a great big part of it. But we're really giving this information out because we want to make sure you guys don't have the same headaches we went through. We want to make sure you guys don't hit those same potholes, right? We done drove down that road already. I'm telling you, that one pothole will blow your whole side of your car out. So don't go down that road. Some people you just gotta, you know, you got the hard head folks that just want to do it anyway. But I want to show you guys my strategy just because it removes the greed. Getting down here to this area on the bottom of the RSI immediately tells me, oh man, I can stay in here longer. Ain't no telling how far I can go. Ain't no telling if it'll reverse either, because if we were looking at just, let me enlarge this. We were looking at just this candle here that came down and touched our area. This is like a real nice wick pushing back up, showing a little bit of buying pressure. This could have just as easily broke here and came back up and retested this zone. And it makes no sense for me to stay in here if I already know this is an area that I need to close out based on what my rules have told me. We've already hit the bottom on the RSI. Take the majority of your trade, move that stop loss in profit, and whatever you get after that is thank you, Jesus, keep it pushing. That's it. That's it. And I feel like this method, it keeps you more disciplined because now you're not sitting here saying, oh man, I shoulda, coulda, woulda. You still got the little bit in the market. You still got some skin in the game, and you got what you came for. That's the beauty of it. You got what you came for. And let me just double back. You can see where the buyers are weak below our power gauge. You can physically see the sellers becoming stronger, and now they're getting weaker and weaker. And now this consolidation starts to make more sense. The story that the chart is telling you starts to make more sense because you can follow the power of the sellers getting weaker and weaker and weaker. And all of a sudden, boom, buyers cross over here, take over from that point on to the upside. So now it's like I'm giving you something where you can physically see. And when I tell you, when you put this ADX in combination with that harmonic scanner, oh baby, you talking about the scanner telling you when a reversal's coming and you wait for that crossover on the ADX, listen, I'm talking about chitlins, grits, and ham. It's going to hit the fan. It go down, all right? So I'm going to go back a little bit further, and I'm going to show you guys why I stay on. Matter of fact, I'm just going to go right to the hourly and give you guys one of the reasons why I stay on this 4 hour. You can see on the 4 hour, right here, we had a drop off. What happened here? Crossover inside the power gauge. Sellers became extremely dominant, right? Buyers are weak. All of a sudden, buyers start to gain strength. We got a little bit of a tug of war here. Buyers come out on top, push into the upside. And this is my thing. The moment we get these trades and we get these setups, if you take a sale from here, your stop loss goes just above here. We've already been, triggered right here to look for the potential buy. Remember, I told you every time we get triggered for overbought or oversold, first thing is squirrel, look left, make sure we got anything that can be a potential area of difficulty. So right here, we would have got triggered. Right here would have been the first area I could have seen. This is a low. And sure enough, price came into this area based on what we had in the past. So now you see what we're talking about, where being triggered using market structure. And now we're looking at this ADX saying, okay, we got a crossover showing that sellers are dominant. All of a sudden, boom, buyers start to creep above the power gauge. Sellers are working their way down. I need to see 2 candles above my 8 moving average. One closes above, the second one stays above. That's what I'm looking for. Not so much, 1, 2. I need to see one close above and stay above. And then from that standpoint, stop loss goes below here. We got growth. And in the moment I get up into this area where I get triggered for a potential sale, I take the majority of my trade off the table. I let the rest of that run. My stop loss is going up as structure goes up. And next, I come back, get stopped out in profit. Great. Triggered for a potential sale. Same thing, 2 candles below, ADX crossover, game time. I'm in there like swimwear. So you want to make sure everything you see is bad. And listen, I've been riding GCAD like a surfboard, all up and down, up and down. And my friends are laughing. They're like, dude, this is like cheating. You get to see every single move up and down based on what your RSI is telling you. And you're just waiting for this 8 moving average to confirm. And I'm like, that's it. And the ADX is giving me that extra confidence, seeing that crossover. Boom, let's go. Now, I want you to notice how our ADX line, this blue line, is not up where we want to see it, where the volatility needs to be. As it dips below, we're getting very low volatility from the chart, right? The blue line, the ADX line, we want to see it up here so we can see nice movement. Or we want to see it really making a push to the upside. The ADX line dies down. Even though the buyers are dominant here, we have no volatility, so we're getting very little movement. And now back here, those sellers became dominant, but then the volatility came with them late. And now we got big drop off because that volatility started to creep higher right inside of here. Major drop off from that point. Okay. So understanding how the ADX works, removing a lot of that uncertainty. Now I'm gonna go down to the hour and show you why I don't go on the hour to use this a lot of times. Now, on this hour time frame, you get so much noise, it's not even funny, right? So right back here, we got a crossover, sellers are dominant, and then we got them coming back down, crossover, buyers are dominant, and they come back down. And then you get this area here where it's just confusion. I couldn't even tell you what was happening inside that little area on this hourly. This is why I say stay on the 4 hour, one, because it starts to build that patience. And then we start to become more disciplined to develop the patience to let all the noise go. Mind you, on hourly, all of this was just scribble scrabble. But here, completely calm. We see it. It makes sense. Easy. No confusion. Boom. Plays out perfectly. So reason why I've been so quiet, guys, is simply because when you're making money, you don't want to talk a whole lot. And I just been in the cut like, hey, I love my family, but I got to get me right quick. I'm trying to get some David Eminichier type houses, right? I be seeing Chanel count this money on Instagram. I'm like, I feel some kind of way. So I want to let y'all know. Look, I'm telling you right now, I'm gonna go ahead and just, results aren't typical. Okay, results aren't typical. We have fun doing what we do here. All right. So I want to make sure you guys understand that the patience is a big part of it. The discipline of having the rules is a big part of it. And inside of what we're doing here, I just want to make sure that you guys see everything that you learned with structure from me, from Oren, from all the other educators is going to start to pay dividends moving forward, because I know some people are having a difficult time saying, I've been in IML this long. It's just not clicking for me like I wanted to. I should be further. I should be. Don't put yourself into a position where you're telling yourself you got a time limit on this. Okay. Everybody learns differently. Everybody has a different view. It will click for you, I assure you. But give yourself that charting time. Like the more time you sit there, listen, I've seen Tracy transform from marketer to expert trader in a matter of months. I've been seeing her go ham on these charts, right? And the thing I noticed is too, I ain't said nothing to her about it, but I'm noticing once you start getting your mental together with trading, the physical kick in. Because you realize I got to keep my body in order now because my mind is moving so fast. I got to make sure I'm putting that extra energy into it, because you start to realize like, man, my mind is moving so fast, my body can't keep up. I gotta hit the gym. I got this extra energy. I gotta go do something. I've been seeing her at the track. I've been seeing her put her time in. So I've been watching you, sister. I see you doing your thing. So just know right now, everything that's happening right now in this market is completely understandable if you give it time for you to be able to see it the right way. And I want you guys to notice where, pay attention to how this RSI is showing you the movements, right? We have areas where the market is bouncing completely from the bottom to the top, from the bottom to the top. And you notice inside of this complete uptrend here, one of the reasons why, one of the examples I give to my children is when you're cleaning a table off, right? And you have a sponge and it's saturated with water or juice or whatever you may have spilled. What do you do with that sponge so you can use it? Because at some point it's going to get completely saturated. You have to do something with that sponge so you continue to use it, right? You got to squeeze it out. Notice how when the uptrend is happening here, right, consistently moving to the upside, watch what happens here, where every time price gets too far too fast, this middle area is our resting zone on the RSI. That's why I put this here where it's a 45 and 55 on the RSI as well. We push to the upside, get overbought, right? Because no, there's no such thing. And then we start to pull back down to the resting zone, right? We squeeze it out and make more room for more growth. We get overbought, squeeze it out back down here. And then all of a sudden we push back up and we squeeze back down. But I want you guys to notice every time we squeeze out, people say, well, how do I know it's not going to be a reversal? How do I know this is a retracement? Look at what the ADX is showing you, right? Well, my bad. We get down here. I don't want to put this down because this little tool is going to keep popping up. Every time we get down here, where we come down to the resting zone, ADX has a little bit of a crossover, and all of a sudden, boom, boom, buyers come back out on top. We're good to go. Right here, we came back down to the resting zone. The buyers didn't even come back down to the power gauge, right? The sellers made a nice move and then moved away. So now you start to see a lot more of the actual strength of what we're talking about, right? Same thing here. Push down, same thing here. We came all the way back down. We broke down, and now we had a cross right here where the buyers became weak, the sellers became dominant for a good amount of time, and all of a sudden we bottomed out down here where we knew this was structure, and now you start to see everything playing out. That structure that we look for all the time starts to pan out moving forward using the RSI, seeing these crossovers take place, and now we got one candle above, two candle above, game time, I'm in there. And this is where I want you guys to notice where we're in a complete uptrend, right? We got higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, but now we're oversold again. My common sense question to my traders is, why would something be oversold in a buyer's market, right? Because they're setting up for another push. They're getting ready for that next game, right? That this sponge has been completely saturated. They had to bring it back down, squeeze it out for one more push, right? We double top, right? Up in here, up, moving around, and then we're steady moving, triple top, drop back down again. So I want you guys to really start to see these movements in the market and understand these levels we have drawn out. Every time we get triggered, looking left, triggered, looking left, triggered, looking left. And now we know this area is just where all the sellers live. Price gets up to this area, we're looking for that ADX to show us what? Boom. ADX, sellers get stronger. We get triggered up here. What happens? Boom. Crossover, sellers get stronger. Right up in here again. What happened? Boom. Right here, sellers got stronger. And you can see it's allowing you to get in right when the move is happening. It's not so much of a, oh, I was 8 candles late and I didn't see it coming. The whole thing is it's based off of you understanding structure. So this is why I was telling you guys where my strategy may not fit everybody because some people are at different learning curves right now. And I want you to know that if you understand structure, you can mark up a chart, you get higher highs, higher lows, lower highs, lower lows. Orange sessions are making complete sense to you. You're able to mark out a head and shoulders pattern. You're able to see what those trend lines are showing you. You're able to get in based off what the Fibonacci levels are letting you know. Because if I slap the fib level on top of here with the ADX giving you the crossovers and the RSI giving you triggers with that 8 moving average, letting you know, boom, enter, everything starts to make more sense. Now, I'm just going to go ahead and pull back a little bit because I know I've been going 100 miles an hour. So, and this is like my half-hour mark right now. So I want to make sure, because listen, I'm amped up for orange. I don't want to take no more time extra than I need to, because I'm like, listen, I'm about to sit back like, shoot. Listen, just to let y'all know, by the way, I came prepared. Okay, I didn't show up to the lesson unprepared. All right, because this is a dream team event. So I had to rep today. Okay. By all means. So just want to let y'all know. Now, if there are any questions, please feel free to ask. Yes, this works on crypto. Yes, I use it on crypto. And the lowest time frame that I could recommend using this on is I go from the 4 hour and I'll completely skip the hour and I'll go to the half hour. Okay. And I like the half hour because it's like this area where the settings still work perfectly on the half hour. Like how we were on an hour and you saw all that noise. Notice how that same noise we saw makes way more sense on a half hour, right? We had this marked up where we knew the sellers came in right inside of here where crossover sellers became dominant. And it's vivid where you can see nothing but red above the power gauge showing you sellers are completely in control. Buyers are absolutely weak, way below the power gauge. And all of a sudden, we got a little bit of a crossover here, up and down, gave us a little bit of static. And now we're just right back to it with the sellers moving again, volatility meter moving up and down. So just wanted to kind of show you guys the other time frames that I glance at occasionally when it comes down to just looking at the lower ones for like scalping purposes or real quick in and out movements or just to solidify what I'm seeing on the 4 hour. That half hour is perfect. Like it gives me just what I'm looking for without all the extra noise from that 15 minute and 5 minute. All right, so yeah, go ahead with any questions you guys may have. I don't know how to unmute unless I am the leader or somebody else has it.
So Curtis, are you entering on the 30-minute time frame? Or you entering?
Yes. Yeah,
Okay.
I'll go down to the 30 minute and then I'll make sure everything the 4 hour is making sense. And then from there, I'll find my entries and I'm good to go. Because I like to use that 30 minute to break down those 4 hour candles. Because I only get 6 candles a day with the 4 hour time frame. So it's difficult to just see a 4 hours candle and say, bye. So you don't want to do that because it's a lot of movement inside of one candle in a 4 hour. So that half hour allows me to have a lot better entries. Now, a lot of people say, well, I like entering on the 15 minute or I like entering on the 5 minute. I like entering on the 1 minute. For me, the half hour is fine because I can get a lot of structure based off the half hour. And all it really is just two 15-minute candles put together. So boom, we're all good.
Hello, Curtis.
Judy,
hey.
What's going on, Judy?
How you doing?
I'm doing awesome. How are you?
I'm awesome. This is absolutely amazing. I'm sure there's a lot of people that don't have questions, but we're going to study this piece by piece a little bit at a time because you go very fast, as we know. But we appreciate it and we love it. Yeah, and I can see, understand what you're saying, but when we go back over it piece by piece and write it all down and study it, yeah, it's awesome. Great to see you again.
Oh, awesome to see you as well. Awesome.
Hey, Curtis, I got a question real quick.
Yeah.
I see that you're using RSI 5. Any reason why you choose that over the 14? Any reason why you choose that over the 14?
I prefer the RSI 5 because based on where everything I'm using, let me make sure can you guys still hear me? Am I coming through clear? Okay, cool. I was going to say, I just saw like a little thing that say internet connection. But the reason why I use the 5 is because it allows me to see everything I need to see on that 4 hour in real time in a much more coherent manner because I've used the 14, I've used the 7, I've used, different settings, even higher, like 19 on RSI. And this 5 in conjunction with that 8 exponential moving average works really nicely because now whenever I get triggered, right, I'm looking to get triggered here for a potential sale because I know price needs to come back down at some point. And what it does, it comes back down. We get squoze down for the resting point, bounces off the 8, pushes back higher. All of a sudden, we break the 8. And I'm like, okay, this is what I'm looking for now. Price has gone too far too fast. We broke the 8. Now I want to see if we can go ahead and get a nice movement to the downside. Let's go. And I'll wait for that crossover to happen as well because on this 8, on the 4 hour time frame, the risk to reward and the movement you get is so beneficial because now I get to see 80 pip, 100 pip, 200 pip movements consistently based on a 4 hour analysis. And you can see how when these crossovers take place on the 4 hour, even if you're in for just 1 or 2 candles, like you're getting a nice amount of movement based off it breaking that 8 moving average, breaking that 8 moving average, breaking that 8 moving average, and getting that confirmation from the ADX. And the RSI just simply just is triggering me, letting me know price is going too far too fast. It wants to pull back. And the thing is, always looking left to make sure I see it in an area of structure where it either has reversed before or it's potentially setting up for a nice little retracement and a continuation. Because if I look left and I say, okay, this area here is an area where price has liked to bounce before.
All right, Val.
Move this up. Like right up in here, this area is an area where price has came down here, bounced, came back, almost tested, bounced again, almost tested, and now we're back down into this area here. just gives me a lot more confidence knowing, okay, if it bounces from here, we're good to go. I just want to see a break of that 8 moving average, showing some momentum. And whatever we get from there, I'm just going to continue to move my stop loss and profit. Every time I'm up another 20 pips, move that stop loss up. Once I go 20 pips, this is a risk-free trade, period. I move that stop loss up 2 pips in profit just to make sure I'm not giving back anything. I never let a winner turn into a loser, and boom, we're good to go. So yeah, RSI is just, it works a lot better for me on this time frame with these settings for what I'm looking for.
Well, thank you, sir.
Oh, no problem. Great question, by the way.
Hey guys, hi Curt, this is Keisha.
Hey, what's going on?
I hope I didn't miss this or if someone else asked this question, but how do you reduce your lot size while you're in the trade already? Can you do that from the phone, or does that have to be a desktop?
No, you can do it from phone and desktop. It's a really, let me see if I can open this up on my laptop. I'll show you how to do it from the laptop on like a demo really fast, just really quick. But on the laptop, it's really easy. You'll just go to where you where you enter the trades from, and then from there, it'll allow you to actually just manipulate the trade in a way where you can close a portion of the trade while it's moving. So even if you have like a winner running or a loser running, like this is one of my little test demos I use. So let me show you what I mean. Let me just enter like a random trade if I can get it to act right. I know sometimes when it first comes in, it's a little laggy. But yeah, I mean, from the phone, it's a little different. I have a program on my laptop that I could probably show you, but it would take time for me to open that one up because it's a whole lot of loading to use that one. So right here, new order. Let's just say we can put in, right, standard, and we're just gonna take a buy, right, argument's sake. So we enter for a buy, everything's good and great. And let's say I want to close a portion of this right now, right? So what I'll do is I'll double tap over here, this little number representing the order. And you see right here where it says volume, I'll go here. And let's say if I want to close out half of it, right? So I'll say like 0.50, right? Make it half. And right here, close by market, do that. And now I've closed half of that trade. There you go. So now I only have $5 still in the market. If I wanted to take more, same exact thing. Just make sure I reopen that up again. Like I'm going to manipulate it because a lot of people think you got to go to modify. You don't want to go to modify. You want to go right down there where the order, where the number is. Double click that. Once that opens up, you'll change the volume number because that's your lot size. And then from there, I said 0.25, take half of that. And then you don't want to sell or buy. You just want to go to close because you're closing a portion of your entry, of your actual position. So boom, close it again. And now I'm down to only $25 or $2.50 in the market right now. So just a real quick way of showing you how to kind of manipulate the trade as you're in it. You can also do this for a trade that may be losing and you're like, man, this thing is just killing my account. I don't want to give it anymore. You can close a portion of it and then allow it to kind of come back for you. And then as it starts to grow, you can scale back into it. And that way you won't have so much of it pulling on your account when it's down. Okay.
Wow.
I know, like, it's always the little things like somebody should have been told me that. So yeah, it's definitely beneficial.
How you doing,
Thank
sir?
you so much.
Oh, no problem.
Hello, how you doing, sir?
Hey, how's it going?
Oh yeah, just to go back to the stop modifying the stop loss and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
The MetaTrader 4 on a computer. If somebody just opened up a new account, this is the one thing I had to do. I had to turn off the one click.
Yeah.
In order to modify it, that's the one thing you had to go, I think, to view or whatever. I had to turn off that one click for me to order to modify, because if you don't take off that checkpoint, you're still going to close out the entire trade.
Yep.
So I don't know if people had to face that problem when trading on the MetaTrader platform on a PC.
Yeah, because a lot of times people think they got to go to hit the X and it'll just automatically close the whole thing out, or they think they got to go to modify and they'll try to change the stop loss, thinking they can modify the actual lot size from there, and it won't let you do that from there. You got to actually go to where the order is at the actual number of the order you have, and then from there you can modify and change and do what you need to do from there.
Now on the phones, on the MetaTrader 4 on the phones, I know I have to put in the whole price to change the stop loss on it, stuff like that. Now I don't know, is like on the more updated phones, can you like touch the line and move it up. That's what I can do on my.
Yeah, I know we get spoiled with the laptops, man. We wish we could do that with the phone. You could just touch it and move it like.
Yeah.
There you go. But no, it's still the same. You still got to put that number in. You have to manually enter that number for your stop loss and take profits on your phone. They haven't gotten that far. You would think we 2018, maybe we'll have flying cars and movable stop losses by now. But
Now, if I'm doing some trend trading, doing long-term trades, I can do it on my phone because I don't have to worry about changing a lot of numbers. Man, if I'm scalping, I much rather do it on my PC.
Yeah.
That way I can modify my stop loss real quickly when it's moving fast.
It's something about becoming more savvy as a trader. That phone, it becomes less and less attractive, and you want your laptop more than anything. You're like, man, I need to sit down and look at my laptop. I want to really get into this. That phone just it's not enough for you sometimes when you really start to get into it. Another thing though, if you guys do want to start modifying the orders from the phone, you don't want to go. I mean, modify. You want to start taking partial profits. I'm sorry. From your phone, you don't want to go to modify when you go to actually take partial profits, because all the modify will do when you go to the modify section, it'll just allow you to change your stop loss and take profit. That's all. When you want to take a partial profit from your cell phone, you want to go to MetaTrader 4, you want to open it up, you want to go to the check with the circle like you're about to close the trade. Okay? Once you go to that, at the very top, you'll see your lot size. You can change the lot size, and you'll see once you change the lot size, it'll show you the amount that you're actually taking out of the market. So that's how you take a partial from your phone, because you're actually closing a portion of the trade. You're not modifying, you're closing a portion. So you want to go to it like you're closing a trade, change the lot size to whatever you want it to be, make sure you're leaving a certain amount that you want to leave in, and then there you go. Now always remember, if you have a 0.1, ain't no taking half of that. That's the lowest it gets. We not cutting that one in half. It's just that's all they give you. So I had one lady, she was blowing my phone. I'm like, Curt, I can't take a partial. I'm like, what's wrong? I got this 0.01 in. They won't let me take a nickel out. I'm like, it won't work that way. It's no nickel position to have. So always remember, if you at the very lowest, that is what it is. It's no lower than that. All right. Also, while I got you guys here, and I want to just talk about this one second. I know a lot of people, when you guys are watching the news and your news is taking place and it's affecting the market, a lot of times you guys get very discouraged. Like, this was good news and the market still dropped. Why did that happen? And I've noticed that sometimes it's difficult for you guys to understand what's really going on. You got to know that this is a market where big money pretty much dictates what happens here. So even though we're participating as retail traders, big money has plans that have nothing to do with us. So understand that when the market is dropping off, think of it this way. And a lot of times when these updates are coming out for the news, they already know what the report's going to be. They got algorithms and people in, high places that tell them, hey, this is going to be a good earnings report. This is going to be a good non-farm payroll. This is going to be a good CPI, whatever it may be. They'll tell you, hey, the CAD's about to strengthen. So what happens is you'll see typically sometimes the CAD will drop before it goes back up. And think about it. They'll buy it while it's going up and it's just running, it's running, it's running. And then right when the news comes out, they'll sell their position and then the market starts to drop. And you're like, how is it going down? This is great news. Think about it. If you had a lot of money, you were a big money mover. You've already been in early. The market's reached a point where all the buyers are ready to come in. And this is the thing you got to remember as a trader. Every seller needs a buyer and every buyer needs a seller. So when big money sees good news, they'll sell it, let it drop down because that economy is still doing well, right? Those buyers still want in. They'll sell it, let it drop down, and then once it hits a level, they'll buy it again at a premium, keep the profits from the initial buy, and let it ride up again because all those buyers are going to come in because there's still good news, it's still a strong economy, it's still a strong currency, and they'll ride it up all over again. So we have to know that inside of this market, a lot of times you'll see moves like that don't make sense to you, but to big money, that's them playing that game of why would something be oversold in a buyer's market, like I gave you guys an example of last time. So always be mindful of the news. And a lot of times for me, I'm just not a big fan of trading news, so I always sit back and let it go. And because I know typically that ABCD rule, you get A to B as the initial leg of the news, and then that B to C retracement. That C to D is typically the same amount of movement that you got from the news. So I'd rather just let the news go, let it drop back down, get in, find my entry, and ride it back up again from there. So just one of my little, words to the wise to you guys, so you guys can understand that when you see news and it's doing something wonky and it doesn't make sense to you, think about how big money is moving. Big money didn't come to play fair. I'm telling you right now, they've been here way longer than us, and they know how this market moves, and they know what the human psychology is. Because when I asked you this question, like if news came out and it was really good for the US dollar, what are you gonna do? I'm gonna buy it. I'm like, and that's what they want you to do. They know that. So they know once you come buying it in, you're buying up everything that they're selling, but they're selling a lot faster than you can buy. Right? So that's what you gotta always keep in mind when you see the market dropping off like that. Get a market time when you see news. If you're still new and you don't understand it like that and you're still having issues, just know that things happen for a reason in this market, and it's nothing is by chance inside of here. Nothing. Everything is for a reason and it has a purpose. All right.
So why does
It's Ronnie.
Hey, Ronnie, what's going on, sister?
Hey, this is my pair too. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at this, and with all of your rules, what are you waiting on right now? Because when I was looking at this, I see that the 8, the candles, 1 closed, maybe 3 closed, but my question is, does the second candle have to be completely above the AMA?
Yes. So the first candle will close.
Yeah.
The first candle will close on the other side of the 8. The second candle has to stay above the
Stay
8.
above.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And the thing is, you'll have some candles that'll do something like, let me see if I can show you, because one of them made me so mad. I just jumped in anyway, and I was like bumping. It was right here. This one caught me. It dropped, and then this one was like so far gone. I'm like, oh, I wish I would have just took it when the first one closed on the other side. But a lot of times, this is what happens with the rules. And the rules were the rules, so I took the trade.
Mm-hmm.
Even though it was already down here, and it was just one of those things where I was like, and then once I started seeing it kind of bottom out, and I was seeing a little bit of buying pressure, I went ahead and just got out, even though I got in here, and it was a quick little like 50 pip move for me, so I was like, fine, I'll take it. I'm not tripping. So
Okay.
Is there any specific setup with that 8?
Just 8 exponential. It's just 8 exponential moving average. And the reason why I use the 8 exponential moving average is I was going across this old school article about these Japanese rice traders that made like an exceedingly wealthy amount. They were just exceedingly wealthy. They made crazy amounts of money trading rice as a commodity in Japan. And they were saying that they're the reason why you like rice. Because if it wasn't for them trading the way they were, rice wouldn't have traveled around the world the way it did, because they use rice as a commodity, but they use this thing called the T line. And everybody thought it was just, them sipping tea or whatever. And it was the 8 exponential moving average. And it wasn't because of them sipping tea. They called it the trigger line, because whenever it broke, they would take the trade, buy or sell, whatever it may have been. And it triggered them to sell or to buy over and over again in the market. And they were able to make so many gains because they had a lot of losses, but the gains they were getting were outrageous. Because you can see once it breaks this 8, it stays above all the way until it's done. And when it breaks, it stays below all the way until it's done. So it was like they were making huge gains up and huge gains down based off the way they were trading, and it was like blowing people's minds. So when I realized that, I started using it. I was like, are you serious? This little green line is that lit? So I just kept adding on to it, putting it together with different strategies, and now everything together with the RSI, because I was simply just using with the RSI, but I would still have days where it would kind of like get wonky and like up and down me. And I realized, okay, well, once I put the ADX together with back testing and the different settings and putting my levels here with the power gauge and the volatility gauge, it gave me an area of, oh, okay, I can see crossovers happen where they need to happen. And now I know for sure we got dominance. For sure we got weakness from the sellers, weakness from the buyers, dominance from the sellers. And it removed my bias of I didn't know into more confidence of, okay, you can stay in this trade because you can see these buyers are absolutely weak and these sellers are still above. So we're all good until we get a crossover. And that's where it just ran for me. It took a whole life of its own from there. And me and my team been loving it. They just been calling me up every morning like, man, this is retarded. We got to figure something out because we about to be sitting up somewhere on the beach. I was like, that's the plan. So it's definitely working.
So do you apply it to like close or open, high, low, or it's just how it is?
No, I don't. I keep it on the close with the 8 exponential is on close for the actual method or the style or the setting and that they use.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't do open, high, low, close or any of that. Just close is good, not high or low. I know what you mean, like the mid and all that stuff and the typical and all that kind of little settings they put into it.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
Cobain, this is Melanie Davis. I have a quick question for you. Thank you again so much for doing this.
Oh, you listen, y'all family. I come over here every week if y'all needed me to.
Hey, yeah. Quick question. I need a reminder what those two yellow lines down in the ADX indicator means again.
Oh no, I just put these here to show you that
Okay.
when we had a crossover to the upside and then a crossover to the downside where the sellers became dominant, right?
Gotcha.
And
Okay.
then right when they finished, and we had it here, so to start to finish, and you got to see when the sellers became dominant, and then when they ended, all of a sudden you saw that buying momentum come in right then and there.
Right. Okay. All right. Thanks.
Yeah, on no problem.
Cobain, can you explain? I don't know what it is. I have a hard time understanding the ADX. I
Yes.
understand that when the red line is above the green line, it's a sell. Is that correct?
It shows that the sellers are dominant. You see a lot of selling momentum coming to the market. And one of the reasons why the ADX is so hard to read, like I'll give you an example. I'll go to I think I had it on Ethereum. It was like without it. You can see here, like this is what the ADX looks like stock without anything. It's very difficult to read because you see just lines flip-flopping. And it's like, how do I read this? How do I make sense out of what's really happening here? It's all over the place. So when you're looking at something like that, you can't gauge. That's why I put these gauges here where you can see where once something breaks above our two white lines, this shows us we got some dominance coming in. Buyers are moving above, sellers are dropping below the power gauge. Okay, cool. But I always want to keep this blue line in my mindset of we don't have any real volatility right now. So at any moment, this thing could just, flip flop on me and it'll just do what it needs to do. Also, that RSI is telling me I'm already being triggered for a potential sale soon. Keep an eye on that 8 moving average because something may break because we're already reaching the area where we've gone too far too fast and we can see the market start to turn around from here. So it's just having the gauges here allow you to see a lot more of what you need to see, and it removes a lot of that confusion of just seeing two lines jumping around or three lines jumping around on an indicator.
And so the gauges are set at what?
These two white lines are at 26 and 19. My actual settings for the ADX are just 9. When you're using the ADX on TradingView, it's a completely different ADX, and I'm going to show you the one that I use here.
Yeah, because I'm on TradingView anyway.
Okay. So and when you type in ADX on TradingView, you see there's a slew of them lined up here. The one that I'm using is this one here by Cobra. It has over 2,000 likes. Okay, just so you know. So when you look for it, it's ADX by Cobra, 2,000 likes. And when you put the settings together here, it's really simple. All I do is just inputs. The length is 9. The length 1 is 1. The threshold is 1. 9 to 1 1. It's an emergency. Okay, and then we go to style. All these are just pretty much clear. I didn't put any kind of coloring. All I wanted was my lines to show up. So I got the DI plus is green for buying momentum. The DI negative is red for selling momentum. And the ADX line is just a bright blue so that it stood out between those two colors. All right. And down here, you'll see where it says like background, all that stuff. I just made those really transparent because they'll give you these signs of buy and sell when a crossover is happening. I didn't trust it. I like my own analysis, so I got rid of all that color stuff because I didn't want anything messing with my eyes when I was analyzing the market. So I just made it completely clear and slid it all the way over. So it's just transparent, no colors at all. Same thing here with the other one with the red. You'll see it show up when you first put it on. I just slid that all the way over, so there's nothing. So I don't have any colors but these green, red, and blues. Real simple, straight to the point. I didn't use their levels because they only give you one, so it just didn't make sense. So every level you see here, I manually put here myself. So the 26, the 19, the 55 and 45, I manually put those there just by putting lines on and changing the colors myself. And they stay, once you put it on whatever chart you're gonna trade.
And the 55, 45, that's pretty much the same what you got on the RSI, right?
Yeah, RSI has a 55 and 45, and then the 80, and then the 20 for overbought and oversold. Whenever I get triggered, that's when I'm looking left to figure out when am I going to see a change of momentum in the market. Or you'll see it bounce and keep testing that resting zone and pushing lower. And when you start seeing it come back up to these areas, like the resting area, you want to look left and start drawing out areas of support and resistance, or just make sure you put a zone together so that way if it comes back up and it tests an area, like right here when it pulled back up into this area, my first thing is let's go back and check and see what areas we're dealing with any kind of resistance. And right here would be an area, because when you're looking at a market and it's moving fast like this is the only area where we had a little blip in price where it stopped, kind of hiccuped, and then kept moving down. I never let that go to waste. None of this animal goes to waste. Everything died of natural causes. We keeping track of everything. So what I want to do is make sure I box this up, like Oren says, like Chinese takeout. Yes, I use that on my session, Oren. That is now a crypto term as well. We box it up like Chinese takeout. And you can see when price is starting to move inside of these zones, like what did it do? It came here, stutter stepped, broke out, tested again, and finished the drop off. And now what did it do? Came up and tested, and we finally broke above that area. So now we can see price in a potential zone to pull back down to the resting zone and test the top of this zone and then push back up. And we can see another bounce maybe from the buyers pushing back up, and the sellers can come close and then drop off again.
Man, you all right with me, man. I don't care what Tracy said about you.
I always knew she had some words. I'm just messing with you.
Thanks, bro.
Oh, yeah, no problem, brother.
Cobain, are you still looking for just 2 candles on the 30-minute chart?
So yeah, on the 30 minute, I'm gonna go back down and show you what I mean. So let's just say right here, we got 1 candle, 2 candle above right here. All right, on that 30 minute, I just want to confirm that I've already had a crossover. Everything's looking good, and that's what I'm looking for. Like just how this looks, everything's already crossed over here. I'm already got 2 candles above, moving good, looking good here. And I want to make sure I'm not running into a zone. Like right here would have had me a little apprehensive because we're right at a zone. Right here when this candle pushed up, pushed down. But you notice even when it hit this area of resistance, it respected our 8 moving average on that 30 minutes. So when I'm monitoring it, the 30 minute gives me a much stronger heads up of my strength of my trend because it's staying above my 8 moving average the entire time. And even now you can see it just finally broke the 8 after all this growth it gave us for the entire day. All right, same thing back here, right? 8 moving average comes into play. Price stayed below that 8 moving average the entire time. Made a little bit of a push up and then came right back down. And right here, when I had a little bit of doubt, did I have any kind of crossover on my ADX? So everything I need is directly in front of me. Even if I'm a little nervous about it, shifting gears and breaking and moving to the upside, the ADX still told me sellers are still dominant. Don't worry about it, bro. I got you. And literally stay in the trade and let it run to the downside some more. Okay.
And real quick, why did you set that 2619 on the ADX?
Listen, if I could tell you how many hours and days of back testing went into that level, man, you talking about painstaking losses and confusion, broke a few keyboards over my knee. So yeah, but once we got to the definitive number of 26 and 19, you can see that it's for the noisy side of things, it keeps me on the right side of things. Even inside of here, when it's moving above inside of this area, we still can be right. Even when we're in the confusion zone, or if I got in for a sale right here where it crossed above, I still would have been good. And then right when it triggered me here, I could have gotten out right at the bottom of this RSI, right? So even inside of confusion, I can still find my zones based off where this 26 and 19 lie. So trust me, it was painstaking, but it paid off in the end. And now I get to share with all of you guys.
Thank you, sir.
Oh, no problem. All right. So I think we've hit our level now. I'm already at 9 o'clock. I'm not trying to take up any of Oren's time. Okay, I got my notebook ready. I'm ready to learn.
You are so awesome. And I wanted to make sure that the questions kind of died down because I didn't really want to cut anybody off. So really quickly, guys, are there any final questions for Curt? I thought somebody was going to say something.
Sheree.
Go for it, Sheree.
I was just wondering, I know he probably already said this, but I'm just trying to understand, like on the ADX, those 2 lines, the little white lines,
mm-hmm.
Where do I, is that just a regular horizontal line or no?
Yep. I went right down here to the horizontal tool. We'll go over to the side to the horizontal tool. Mm-hmm. Literally went to it, dropped it down here, and just went to coordinates. Right when I put it there in a little, modifying where I can change the color and everything.
Okay.
I went right here to the cog, and you can go to coordinates, and you simply just type in 26.
Okay.
And boom, it slaps it right there. And I did another one for 19. And then once I put those there, I went ahead and locked them right here, where you can lock them down, so that way I can't delete them.
Okay. Awesome. And the same thing with these little like pink
purple
lines.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Same exact thing. So that way, because the actual tool itself doesn't allow you to do all the modifications like I wanted to do. So we got to get a little creative at times. I've even gotten to the point now, like on my phone, my indicators have different colors for my levels because I figured out how I can layer 2 indicators on my phone now. So on my RSI, I'll have like a middle zone that's one color, my top and bottom, my overbought and oversold are different colors. So now I won't just have like all white lines with a RSI line. You can overlap different indicators on your phone and change the settings slightly. So if I have a 5 RSI, I'll layer a 4 RSI on it, and then I'll make the lines the same color as the background and really thin so you can't see it. But the only thing that shows up is my levels. So now I have different color levels with one line that's my 5 showing up with everything else.
Wow. Okay. Thank you so much, Kobe.
No problem.
Okay, one last question, Curt. One last question. Can you give us the rules one more time?
Okay, awesome. So what I do is I'm on the 4-hour time frame when I start off with everything. Let me remove some of these so you can really see everything I'm looking at here. All right. We can get rid of that too. I want to put too much stuff on the chart because I know when you guys are looking at it, I want it to be like really clear and to the point. Move this out the way. Okay, so what I'm looking for first and foremost is to be triggered on my RSI. So first things first, I got triggered right here, overbought was one area. Okay, I want to see if something starts to come back down and break my 8 moving average. Once I see this candle break my 8 moving average, now I'm looking at my ADX and I'm seeing, okay, will I see anything cross over here and break above? And will I see these buyers become weaker and drop below? I get 2 candles below. I enter for my sale. My stop loss goes just above the last high. And now from this point, I'm monitoring it on the 30-minute. So here, let me go back. Sorry, make sure so you can see. Rules are here. Everything's looking good. Second candle is there. I'm going down to my 30-minute. It's probably going to take me forever to scroll back to find that. Oh, we good. Sweet. So here, we're looking good. Everything's planning out, looking really nicely. Now, I've already had a crossover here. Price is looking good. It's dropping off consistently. I entered from my sale. Like I said, my stop loss is here. And on that 30-minute, I'm in, I'm watching. Everything looks good. And as it steady drops off, going lower and lower, I'm just moving my stop loss just above, just above, just above levels of structure, making sure we keep making lower highs and lower lows. And that's pretty much just the gist of it from there. And as I'm going lower, I'm going back up to the 4-hour, occasionally, just to make sure as we're dropping off. I don't know how far we went. Just to make sure when we're dropping off, okay, we're down to this zone here. Once we've been triggered, I'll take the majority of my trade off the table right up inside of here. I'm fine with that. I'll leave $2 in the market because I took a standard to start off with. So let me just, all right, give me sake this from here down to here. We're looking at 106 pips worth of drop off. Once it gets down to that level and I see myself get triggered, I'm good. Take that majority. So $8 of that is gone. So I made about $800 on that first potential closeout. I'll leave $2 in. As we're dropping down, I'll let that go. And then the moment I see a higher high or something breaks my 8 moving average, typically something like right here, I would have exited this trade on this candle. So essentially from here to here, we stayed in for our $2 lot. That's about, let's just round it and say about $350. So that's about $700 extra. So altogether, we made $800 in our first, $700 in our last, and that's it for me. And then all of a sudden, we get a break in the market. We get a break in structure right here where we see a crossover happening here. We've already been triggered down here, potential buy opportunity. So now I'm just monitoring 1 candle above, 2 candle above, buy in here, right? Stop loss goes just below here. And now market's bouncing, pushes up. And like I said earlier, I entered here, exited here. That is 137 pips right there. There you go. Really simple. Right up in here, we got triggered to exit the trade. Good to go. And I still have $2 still sitting in the market right now, waiting for a lower low to come back. So essentially, this is my method of how I enter and exit using the ADX, using my tools, putting my stop losses where it needs to be. And even my losses are like very minute, but it's just my gains are a lot better than my losses. So that way I can consistently keep the profits rolling in. And I think since I've been using this method, I've had a total of about I think it's somewhere between like 8 to 11 losses. And my wins, I'm somewhere inside of like 27 wins right now. Some of them are small. Some of them were like me just kind of like hurrying up and getting out. And then I realized I was leaving a lot on the table. So then, you know, me and my team came up with the solution of just take the majority once we've triggered for the next potential trade. That way we know for sure we got a nice amount and we'll let that little bit go because all we're here to do is compound. And the moment we came up with that, it was like, oh, light bulb, the greed is gone. The rules say take the majority of the trade, leave the little bit in, and wait for another position. Boom, simple. So now I'm not sitting here saying, man, I hope it keeps going. I'm like, I already got what I came for, but if it does keep going, that's just extra money. That's anyway money, right? I mean, I'm taking that anyway, so it works for me. So those are the rules. And if you want to get a little more clear on that, I go over this a lot more on my my crypto sessions. At the end of the crypto sessions, we'll sometimes look back at a Forex pair just to show you guys how it works and what we do with it on the Forex pairs as well. So yeah, feel free.
All right. Well, I am so excited. You know, Curt always has these different strategies. I'm telling you guys, you're going to have to go back and you're going to have to watch the recording of this. Okay. You guys are just going to have to. And so we'll have all that posted. So Curt, really quickly, one more time, when are your IML TV sessions? What time are they so that everybody can make sure that they tune into your IML TV?
Every Wednesday, every Friday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You go to English, crypto. I'm down at the bottom. I'm the only color brother with the dreads. So you can't miss me.
Oh man, we love it. We love it. We appreciate you so much. So what I'm gonna do, Curt, is ask you to stop sharing your screen.
All righty.
And we are going to be ready to rock and roll. Hold on.